This is level L, list 8, and we're doing the day 1 page, and you can see in all of these words we've got EL at the end of them. So let's colour that in first. So we've got camel, towel, level, shovel, travel, cancel, kennel, funnel, tunnel, and squirrel. So to know whether you're going to write LE or EL at the end of a word, we know, we've discussed this quite a bit, that you must have a continuing consonant before the UL sound. So continues when we say it, so we add EL. W is a continuing sound, so we add EL. Is a long sound or a continuing sound, so we add EL. So we know this C is making a sound because it's followed by an E. So that's forcing it to say goes for a long time when we say it, so we say it's continuing. Is a long sound, and goes for a long time when we say it too. Now the other thing we've got happening down here is we've got a short vowel sound, so we're doubling that consonant after that short vowel sound. So you've got 2 N's, and roll, we need 2 R's to keep the vowel short. Right, if we have a look at other things in these words, we know that in shovel, shovel, that must be a lazy monk word, because they would have found it very difficult to write that with so many up and down letters. Remember, they had to write all the books out by hand, so if they were writing shovel, they would have used much fancier writing than me. But you can see, because of all the up and down strokes in that, when you use it, write it in running writing, it looks like a triple W rather than a double U. So it made it very difficult for them to write it with their quills, and made it very hard for people to read those words in the books too. Now here, don't forget that E is making the C say S, whereas the A is making the C say K here and here. Now here in kennel, because if we have CE, we know it will say S, we have to use a K before an E for the K sound when we want it to say K. You also know down here that you must always have a U after a Q for the Qt sound. We never ever write a Q without a U after it. Qantas is an acronym for Queensland and Northern Territory Airways Service, so we don't need a U in Qantas, but we do every other time we use a Q in a word. Right, let's go back and look at the meanings of these words before we read them, sound them, spell them and write them. So camel is a type of animal. We probably know it well because it has a hump on its back. A towel is something that we might dry our bodies with, a bath towel. A tea towel we would use to dry dishes with. And you can have a hand towel which you use to dry your hands with. So we can have different types of towels. A beach towel, for instance, one that we take to the beach. A level, you can work out how to make things level by using a level, and it indicates when something is level. That means the same height on both ends of it. And you can have different levels or stages in swimming or in some things where you progress from one level to the next. A shovel is something that you would dig with because it's got a nice spiky end on the end of it. Travel is when we go from one place to another. We travel by usually in a vehicle. Cancel means when you don't do something anymore, you cancel it, you take it out. Kennel is a home for a dog that you might have one at your house, a little structure that the dog can sleep in. A funnel is something that we can pour, so we can pour into a smaller container. So you might put water or rice or something in it to get it through a very small opening. A tunnel is an opening through a mountain usually, or a hillside. So you can get through the hillside or through the mountain without going over it. In a lot of cities now they're putting in tunnels for the railway, so that we don't have to have the railway lines and the trains running above the ground. They can run below the ground. A squirrel is a little animal that collects nuts, lives in trees, quite a cute little animal, see them in lots of parks and things. Okay, so let's read the words, sound them, spell them and write them. So we've got camel. Now, because these are all more than one syllable, you're probably best to break them into syllables. So camel. When you get down here, you're going to split these ones between those double letters. Okay, camel, camel, C-A-M-E-L, 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 and then you write it 3 times and then check to see if you've done it correctly. You can finish the rest of that on your own. This is level L, list 8, and we're doing the day 2 page where we're learning when we add EL to the end of a word. So we use EL for the ul sound after a continuing consonant. So you can see here, let's highlight the continuing consonant. We've got it continues when you say it, so it's a continuing consonant. What? Now the C here is making its soft sound because there's an E after it, so we've really got the S there. Continues when you say it, and lasts for a long time when you say it too. So if you have a continuing consonant, you're going to add EL. If you have a stop consonant, you add LE. So some of these, if we've had a short vowel sound, we also know to double the letter after it, double the consonant after it. So we've got a short it there, so that's why we've doubled those N's and L's in those ones. We've already got and we can break that into cancel. So breaking these into syllables will help you when you're sounding and spelling these words. I don't think there's anything much else in there. You know to use a C before an A for the kut sound. You know to use a K before an E for the kut sound too. So that's how you decide whether to use a C or a K. You look at the letter that comes after it. If we have, we only use a C if it's followed by an A, O, U, L or R, and we only use a K if it's for the kut sound if it's followed by an E, I or a Y. So let's look quickly at what these words mean. A camel is an animal with a hump on its back. Is a towel is a cloth that you would use to dry yourself or your hands, or dishes, so it's something that dries another thing. A level is when something is the same height or the same base all the way along. So you can have different levels or different grades too as you progress through something like swimming. You can have different levels of difficulty. A shovel is something you use to dig a hole with. Travel is to move from one place to another. Cancel is to stop something. To cancel it means you would be stopping it. A kennel is a home for a dog. A funnel is a utensil that we use to pour a liquid into a small space, or it could be to channel anything into a smaller space. A tunnel is usually something that we go through. We could have tunnels for cars to go under or through a mountain, or trains to go underground through tunnels, so it's usually an underground thing with earth above it. And a squirrel is a little animal. So let's read those words, sound them and spell them. We're going to break them into their syllables to sound them. So we go cam-ul, cam-ul, C-A-M-E-L, C-A-M-E-L. So cover them when you write them. Make sure you check to make sure you've spelt them correctly. And don't get tricked on that C-E. C-E is a common sound near the end of a word. Write the list word to match the meaning. To make something flat, you can work out the answers to those using these list words up here. fill in the gap with the missing list word. It was our last game of the season and our whole team had something vision. So the first one would be tunnel vision. Now, these may be tricky. You may need to work with your group to get that done. This is level L list 8 and we're doing the day 3 and our words are camel, towel, level, shovel, travel, cancel, kennel, funnel, tunnel, squirrel. So you can see in some of these words we have, in all of these words we have the EL. So if you have a continuing consonant before an ul, you add EL. So the continuing consonants are w, v, s, and the C is making it soft sound s because it has an E after it, n and So they all continue when we say them. That's why we call them a continuing consonant. Now in cancel, you do have to be aware that you have the C making its hard sound and its soft sound because of that. The hard sound is because it's followed by an A, so it's saying it's k sound, whereas here it's making its soft sound because of the E after it. Now if you look at kennel, we're using a K for the k sound because it's followed by an E. So if you have an E, I or a Y after a k sound, you must use a K. If you have an A, O, U, L, R after a k sound, you must use a C. So you've got that in camel too, and I think they're the only 3 words that are affected by that. Now in some of these words we also have a short vowel sound, and you can see if this vowel is short, we've doubled the consonant after it. So you might like to highlight that to make it easier for you. You also need to recognise that whenever we write a Q, we always have a U after it. So QU is a common pair that we see in words with the qu sound in them. Now, so let's read the words, sound the words, spell them, and then write them. So we've got camel. You might need to break them up into their syllables and then spell them, C-A-M-E-L, before you cover them and write them, C-A-M-E-L. Now, plural nouns down here, you have to write in the missing words, and they have to be list words from up here. So a caravan of camels, a pile of, the pictures might help you with those earlier ones, towels, you can work out the rest of those. Verb families, so first of all you have to write the base word here with nothing added to it. Then here we're commonly adding the S to make it, say, travels, cancels, tunnels, etc. Here we're adding the ing to these words. Now, if you notice here, we're doubling the L before we're adding the ing in these words, and here we're also doubling the L before we add the ed to these words. So the owner, something, the dog, dry after its bath. It's got to be one of these words in here. You've got to use it in its correct tense. So the owner towel the dog dry. No, that doesn't sound right. The owner towels the dog dry after its bath. The owner toweling the dog dry after its bath. The owner towelled the dog dry after its bath. You work out which is the correct tense and fill these gaps in. This is level L, list 8, and we're doing the day 4, and we're revising on when to use EL versus LE at the end of a word. So write down the vowel letters, so you know the vowels are A, E, I, O, U, and Y is also considered a vowel when it makes the E sound like in happy, the I sound in my, or the IT sound in Jim. So down here, all the other letters of the alphabet are called consonants, consonants. So you have to write that in here. Write them here. So if you go through the alphabet, leave out these vowels and write down the consonants. So B, C, D, leave out E, F, G, H, leave out I. You can finish that off. Colour the consonants that stop when you say them. So stop means they'll stop straight away, like B, D, G, T. And then colour the consonants that continue in a different colour. So they're ones like So you can do that on your own. Fill in the missing letters. See if you can find 2 more words for each stop consonant plus LE. So we know if we have a stop consonant before an OOL, we put LE, and if we have a continuing consonant before an OOL, we put EL. And the only reason the E is here is because every syllable must have a vowel in it, and we will be splitting these syllables between the double letter, the 2 consonants there, so this last letter of the base word always links to the LE. Down here, you can actually hear that OOL at the end. We just about mouthed that E before the L. Now, let's have a look. See if you can find 2 more for each of the stops. Let's see, we've got BLE. Well, if you have a look at the picture, we give you the first one. So you've got bubble for the first one, and then you've got to write another 2. So we're going to have table and fable. You might find different ones to me. You have to finish off these ones here. We've got some pictures here to give you hints as to what to do there, and then you've got to write another 2 as well that are different from the first one. Remember, a stop consonant is followed by LE.